Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How was your day today?
Good. I didn't do much.
Oh, you're in full holiday mode.
Yeah, I'm cruising.
You look very zenned out.
Yeah.
The complete opposite of me.
Yeah, meant to have a mural this week, but we got rained out, so I've just been chilling out till January, really.
Yeah, nice. Just doing Faith, living your best life.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So what shall we chat about today?
Let's talk about how we met, because I think recently I did the PCYC mural in Turner.
Yeah.
And that was like a thank you artwork to you.
Oh.
And I think a lot of people like really resonated with that. And I think it would be nice to share like the specific reasons why I painted that, you know?
Yeah.
So I met like Sancho when I was 15 years old, back when she had the chop shop.
Just a little jelly bean.
Just a little bean.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that was like in year 12 and he was in the exhibition and he was like, Faith, I'll talk to Sancho. I'll get you a spot in it. And
Oh, who was the friend again?
do you
Refresh
remember
my
Duds?
memory. Oh, yeah.
Andrew Dudley?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Duds was like, I'll get you a spot. And I was like, oh my God, that'll be amazing. So, yeah, we ended up getting a piece there. And I remember being like so nervous to introduce myself to you. I was like, this is Sancho. Oh my God, she has tattoos. That's so cool. And I was like, can I paint in your wall? And you're like, yeah, here's some paint. And it was so good. But yeah, that just stands out so much to me because I just remember seeing like one person go over and like look at some pieces that I had up there and everyone else is kind of chatting and drinking beer, but like one person went up and had a squiz.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, like this is what I want my life to be. This is like the start of the rest of my life. And it like fully made me emotional. And I was just like, oh my God, someone's like interested and excited or
In what you're making.
in what I'm making. And it just blew my mind that was
a thing. Yeah.
So, yeah, you gave me that opportunity. And then many others.
That's so cute. I just remember you and your friends always hanging out in the alleyway. And I'm like, are they trying to sneak into the bar? Yeah.
Just trying to sneak into the art scene.
Low key.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I was blown away by that mural. It was very like seeing it in real life because it's just like this giant floating head.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just a really, really lovely gesture. I was just blown away.
I think it's long overdue. I'm surprised that no one has done a piece like this sooner, you know? And I think a lot of people have had like ideas to and like wanted to, but I was just like, oh yeah, this is like a perfect opportunity to actually like execute.
Yeah. And you've immortalized the moulet.
Yes,
forever.
Your schwinkiest hairstyle.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that was all freehand too. You didn't use any projectors to scale. And I think it was over 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. Yeah. And I didn't even have a scissor lift for the first day. So I ended up just like scaling the ladders and just being like up and down the whole time. And then on the second day I had the scissor for a bit, so I was able to actually like get most of it done. But a lot of the guys were like really impressed by like how quickly I did it.
Yeah.
And
it's quite physical, and even in those conditions, like that particular wall was just like constant.
It was
hot.
Hot.
Sauna. Hot steamy sauna.
Yeah, it was kind of good though, you know. It was kind of like being in a life or death situation, and I was like on the brink of like survival, just like drinking water by the gallon and just trying to like get it done.
Yeah.
I kind of like the state your body goes into when you're like a bit stressed and a bit like
I guess it's like the adrenaline.
Strained. Yeah. You just get into a flow.
But that's the zone as well. Like talking to a lot of the other painter guys, it's like you hit that sweet spot where you're like a bit tired, a bit hungry, but driven to get it done.
Yeah, no,
the quickest possible
completely.
amount of time.
I lose my appetite when I paint. I can just paint for like 12 hours straight and just keep going. So I totally get that. It's like a flow state and you're just like wired. And
So how did this PCYC, the larger project, come about?
I think
Di organised that, didn't he?
Yeah, so I think it originated from Lisa Petheram, the graffiti management coordinator. So I think she got approached by one of the directors of the PCYC. I think that building has been abandoned for the last 6 years or so, and they've had people squatting in it, people tagging it. I mean, it still looked cool in its own way before this burst of colour came along. Like, it was kind of like this monolith of urban decay, I guess. And it was kind of cool just to see how people interacted with it.
Yeah.
But I think on the other side of that argument, like, I guess it's property damage. That's how the PCYC saw it. So I think they engaged with Lisa to try and get some people together to cover it with art top to bottom. So I guess because it's right across from a seniors club as well, and there's like, I guess, a lot of families living in the area. So I guess they just wanted something a bit more like, I guess, pleasant to look at.
There's also a lot of graffiti on the inside of that building as well.
Yeah, it's actually really cool on the inside.
Yeah, some old Canberra names in there too. I never got to see it myself when I was like 15. Like, one of my friends had kind of like broken in and like sussed it out and took heaps of cool photos. I was like, I want to go in. And we like tried to like pry open this board for like ages, and then someone came over and he was like, you know, there's asbestos in there. And we were like, oh, true way, probably shouldn't go in.
Yeah.
We just kind of wandered off.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh, like, you know, like scared cats. Like,
we were trying to get access just before the project started, just so we could capture some of that internal content, because I thought it would have been really cool to document the inside of it, so you could show like the transformation and the juxtaposition of the different styles. And also, like you said, there's a lot of Canberra history. Like, I think there's an Abyss piece in there. There's Swerfk. There's a lot of Sly Crew pieces and just like kind of little kids breaking in and doing their thing, and it's all part of it. Like, it's all part of the fabric of the history of that building.
Yeah.
So maybe one day we'll be able to get access inside and we can show that before it gets demolished or whatnot.
Completely. I think it's important to still like have that space for kids to like, you know, be rebellious and play and like get involved in like that sort of thing as well. And it should still be like encouraged.
Yeah,
for sure,
100%.
That's how a lot of kids start out, doing like street art and graffiti and like, you know, so.
It was how a lot of like prolific like writers and artists start out.
Yeah.
And then it's that urge to keep like growing and evolving from that and I guess forming your own flavour. But yeah, hopefully it's the start.
How do you think like the gentrification of different like urban areas in Canberra has like contributed to that like acceptance or non-acceptance of like graffiti? Yeah.
I think like anywhere in Australia, there's like a natural life cycle of urban decay. And I think it's just more, I guess like gentrification is just more noticeable in Canberra because we're so small.
Yeah, true.
It's more noticeable. It's more concentrated. And I mean, Canberra's always been a planned city.
Yeah, that's true.
But I fear that we'll become overcooked and we'll lose the like spontaneous and like, you know, the blueprint of the actual people that live here if we keep trying to like clean up and appropriate spaces. So, and then you kind of end up pushing these people out and they move elsewhere where they can go be free, creatively free. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even the Hamlet, which was like a really cool like food van hub, you know, and that like had a lot of like local businesses and stuff, and that's like knocked down for development now. Yeah. And Degenerate and Six was in a temporary space, and the Chop Shop was like a converted mechanics. And, you know, there's a lot of cycling that happens, and like with how trendy Braddon has gotten, it's like, you know, there's like not a lot of space for that anymore, and I just
like this weird push-pull at the moment.
Yeah.
Because then
they recently made the Braddon street art map as well.
Yeah,
a group made that, which is like celebrating the street art that's in the area.
Yeah, but only specifically one type. Like that's what I noticed when I read the map. It made a specific point of like disregarding like tags and throwies and like what they deemed like vandalism. Yeah. In preference for like, I guess more image based works. And I was kind of like, well, there's still like merit and creativity in the aforementioned. It's just that I felt like it was like one group's opinion of what is and isn't street art.
Yeah.
It was a bit exclusive.
Yeah. I think this is something like we discuss outside of podcasts quite a lot as well, is the lines that are drawn between graffiti and street art, and how it's like not really reflecting the history or like
The culture.
the culture and the community.
The evolution of the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's always it happens like in anything. Like I'm sure it happens in like skateboarding, for example, and how it's now like an Olympic sport. There are some people who are going to be, you know, celebrating that, and others who are like, ugh,
That's
it's
true.
devolving, or it's evolving in the wrong direction. Like
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, graffiti was, I guess, always like anti-establishment, and by it being so accepted now by mainstream culture, it becomes like
Pop
for
culture.
establishment, pop culture,
Yeah.
and like edgy, but in a commodified way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then on the other hand of that, it's giving people like me a job and
Yeah.
like a viable career path, whereas there wasn't a space for that before.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's an interesting idea, I think.
Yeah. I guess you can only really do you, hey? Like, that's
Yeah.
how I see it. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same with the shop. Like, when I first started the shop, and I started selling spray paint, because I'm not a graffiti artist. I'm more of an illustrator, but I've always been fascinated and really into it. And I like the idea of the adrenaline rush. I like the, like, impermanency of it. I like the meritocracy of it, that, like, no one really gets to decide what is and isn't. You've just got to kind of keep up with the pace to make it last, and you got to be prolific, and you got to evolve your skill, you got to find good spots, you got to grow your style, and that's what I really liked about it. It was kind of like for the people, by the people. And I think even when I opened up my store, people were like, who the fuck is Sancho? And it was kind of like, where is she coming from? And why is she like appropriating this? And even that was met with a bit of like, by like some people within the community.
Yeah.
And I think I just resonated, like my store naturally just gravitated towards street artists, because everyone's just like friendly and they're all just like, I guess more females tend to gravitate towards street art. And then me being a female myself, you just kind of vibe easier
100%.
with fellow females. Yeah. And it's only more recently now that I'm getting a real insight into the history of Canberra graph, the people involved in it, and it's really cool. And I think more people are kind of coming out and being part of the dialogue with these government funded projects and putting their
like
hands
the
up.
squash court project.
That
looked
one was really cool. Yeah.
That was fascinating to me.
Yeah, because I actually didn't know the history. Like I pretty much grew up in Woden,
Yeah.
but I would have been like in kindergarten or year one when that was kind of like a spot where like teenagers hung out. So I guess I kind of just missed that, even though I was always at Woden Plaza. I was just never allowed to go
Being a
hang
mall
out
rat.
there. Yeah. Well, my dad had a shop in the plaza. So like school holidays, we would just like hang out there and like help him and stuff like that. And then we'd always go to like Time Zone. I don't know. You probably don't remember Time Zone.
Is that like an arcade thing?
Yeah, so it was like before Intensity.
Yeah.
And there was like Cosmopolitan Twin Cinemas, and like movie tickets were only like $2.
Man,
It
I was
like
north side,
Yeah.
so I never Palko Mall was my home turf.
Yeah, okay. Rivals.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm.
Yeah, so tell me about, I was both equally like excited and sad to hear about scholarship.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh, it's just like Canberra loses another. Which like
Not for long though.
Yeah.
Not for long.
Yeah.
I won the Westpac Asian Exchange scholarship like at the start of the year, and I was gonna go to Kyoto in Japan and like, go
amazing.
there for 5 months, and it's all funded and just have like the best time of my life. But,
Yeah.
I'm hopefully going in 2022 instead.
Yeah.
I feel weird posting stuff about that because it's kind of like, oh, look at me,
Dude, own it.
Yeah,
I would flex that shit.
Oh man, it feels too like showy and like look at me, but
yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Especially in the way the current state of affairs in the world is, it feels weird.
Yeah, I was like,
To
people
be-
are suffering, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, complaining about not going on exchange. I was like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I'll still be able to go. Like, if a vaccine rolls out and it, you know, all goes well, so should be all good. It kind of means I can like do my last year of uni next year and cruise through it and
Yeah.
just like really focus on the art that I'm making, which I'm really excited about, because otherwise I was going to be doing 4 units and just like flogging myself really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's kind of spaced out a little bit more. But I guess what was really like humbling about that was, here is like an institution, a bank,
Yeah.
Westpac, who is looking at what I'm doing and saying, yep, we think you should be funded to go on exchange and just like learn and like do your thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily doing a super academic like degree. I'm doing sociology and painting. So it's just like middle range arts degree and then visual arts, which you don't even need an ATAR for. So I
still.
was like so like floored that I
Yeah.
got chosen, because, you know, I'm a smart person, but they would choose like a economics and law, you know, double
Yeah.
major sort of like entrepreneur type person. It was my assumption.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
them choosing me was like,
Was there
oh,
criteria? Like, was the criteria directed towards a specific industry, or was it kind of like an open, like an emerging development?
it was like
scheme?
for like innovative people and like individuals who are doing things in their community, and like some of it was like academic merit and some of it was like being a leader in your community and being involved. And so we just had like an interview just online, and we had like a minute to answer each question, like
Oh,
on
wow.
the clock.
Oh, wow.
And like 2 minutes to read and then a minute to answer. So I had to like just talk.
My brain would have just melted.
Yeah, it was full, and I just had to make myself like dot points and be like, and
Yeah.
it was fine. But yeah, it was okay, because I'm kind of used to like speaking under pressure,
Yeah.
and but yeah, they must have liked my work, and they made me like a little cartoon that was like Faith, the like super cool artist, and it was just awesome that like such a prolific sort of institution saw what I was doing and like
Yeah.
believed in it, and that was just amazing. Blew
Very
my mind.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with the TED talk that I just did recently as well.
Yeah.
Like a very, very, very similar feeling with that. Is
You look
that
so profesh in that.
I
I'm just like, because you'll forever
know.
be the girl that hung out in the chop shop alleyway to me. And then like to see you on the stage, like evolved into this like power woman. I was like, whoa,
That's so
go
nice.
get him.
That's so nice.
I just had a little like emotional moment.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I see
you've
you as like
seen
a
me
shop
grow-
a shop
yeah.
child. I just have these little shop children that
Oh, there I am.
they're so professional. Look at that.
You've seen me grow. Like you've literally seen like my career evolve, which
Hmm.
is just awesome. But yeah, got this schwinky outfit on, and it was really interesting because I have photos from when I was like rehearsing the speech and when I was actually performing it. And the difference in my body language is insane. Like when I was rehearsing, I was kind of like more casual and like kind of chilling out and just saying like talking more relaxed. But then here my body language is so like confident and calm and like in control and just like, and I don't remember my speech at all. Like I completely blacked out as soon as I got up there,
adrenaline.
and I came back down and I was like, did I do well? I don't know. I don't remember. And I just had to ask people. I was like, objectively, honestly, do you reckon I did? And they're like, yeah, did great.
That's awesome.
So it was awesome. So hopefully I'll know for sure when it comes out in like late January. Like
I'll
whether
have to
it was
watch it because I
good or
couldn't
not.
make it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I saw some content that people were sharing.
yeah.
What was the crowd like? Can you just see all these like people?
It was like dimly lit, but I
Yeah.
could still, and there's lights on me, but I
Yeah.
could still see everyone. So, and I was kind of just I had my dad and my friend like sitting on this side, and every time I looked at them, I blinked. So I just had to like,
Just put your blinkers
because
on.
they were just like grinning and they were so happy, and it was just like making me smile. So I just like couldn't look at them too much. But there was this one lady I remember in the crowd. She was nodding like this the whole time. She was there for it. She really liked it, which was like very reassuring. But I was just like, yeah, go you, lady. Everyone else, they were super attentive, and like everyone was just really engaged and obviously like there to learn, there to be inspired. So it was like the best crowd you could have is people who like are just mega wholesome.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that one lady, she got me through it. She was like, yeah, I've never thought about it like that before. Yeah. And then I had a few people come up to me afterwards, and because my whole my speech was about how street art can be an instigator for social change through co-creation. So similar to the piece I did for International Women's Day in 2018, how I got all of the women to contribute the statement and make their own pieces, and then we wheat pasted them together.
Yeah.
So because I'm not curating that mural, that's like co-creation.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that way they are able to like express themselves and like have a diverse way of saying their opinions, and then all of the opinions becomes like the product of the mural as opposed to my opinion.
Yeah. So much bigger than just one.
100%.
It's like the sum of all its parts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that's co-creation. And the second one was education for participants, and that's when the participants like are learning about how to paint and like how to execute that, and then also learning through like an inspiring person. So that's when I got like Caitlin Figueredo and Dani Gilbert to talk to the participants for 2019. Caitlin's a women's rights activist, and Dani's an Indigenous rights activist.
I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, and they came and they talked to the girls. That's the piece I did for 2019. And then that was like the education for the participants, as they got to engage with these like inspiring women directly. Yeah. And the third one was education for broader publics, and that's similar to like the collab science meets street art projects, where we worked with like the scientists to express their like research. Yeah. So that happened for a few years in a row in like 2017, 2018, I think. Yeah. With the eyeball piece I did.
Yeah, I remember like in Kingston.
Yeah, Kingston.
Yeah, I drive past there when I go to Megalo.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like a pretty good project. But yeah, that's like using the interdisciplinary kind of collaboration. It can be used to educate broader publics. Yeah, but yeah, that was my whole TED talk, and I think it was just hugely successful because I was kind of combining like my sociology degree and my arts degree, and it really manifested in what I was interested in like making art about and researching. And I just didn't even realize that was like the path I'd gone down on, you know, because I started my degree just being like, oh, I want to make art about social issues. Yeah. And that's why I want to do sociology as well. And then it ended up just being like, now I'm making art that is a methodology of how street art addresses social issues. So it's like the practice of it as opposed to me making art on the subjects. Yeah. So... yeah, very convoluted, but yeah.
Inception.
That was my idea. That's my great idea. Yeah. Because I figured when I got asked to do the TED Talk, I was like, well, I don't really have a super inspiring story. Like, other than starting when I was like 16, the
growth is pretty inspiring.
I guess so.
Seeing,
but I have supportive parents, and I grew up. Went to a private school, and you know,
that plays like definitely one part in helping you navigate that growth. But I think the growth also comes from within. Like I think from like your pieces that I saw when you were like 15 to what they are now, like that's like growth in 5 years. Yeah, that's progression. 5 years worth of progression, which is like the result is pretty exponentially like amazing. So I think that speaks kind of for itself. Like, you know, if that's what you did in 5 years, and what are you going to do in another 5 years, you know? Do you ever feel pressured?
I got to keep raising the ceiling. Yeah. I don't feel pressured. I think I just decided like what I wanted just earlier than other people, and I think that was just like lucky, you know. Yeah. But like my art wasn't necessarily like exceptional at the time. It was just like you know,
Just figuring your shit
just
out.
figuring it
Yeah.
out. So, and I just had people around me. And Canberra's like very supportive of like that kind of growth. I had people around me that was like, oh my God, she's just a go-getter. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll help you out, you know?
Yeah.
So like James Hallcraft, he like helped me out, Jeff Filmer.
Yeah.
While I did a few painting murals like with him.
Yeah, cool.
So like I had all of these like people who just like took me under their wing and like taught me things, and it was just awesome to have that support for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Very wholesome.
Super wholesome. Canberra's a great place to start.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot different, I think, now. There's a lot more opportunities than when, say, I was your age.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that now certainly the street art space has come out of your shop and what you've been doing. Do you feel that's a common story that artists have come up through your shop?
Yeah, a few people have said that, and I guess for me, yeah, because I didn't really have these kinds of opportunities when I was a teenager and coming up. Like my plan was always to go to Melbourne, and pretty much when I finished art school, when I finished college, most of my friends bounced and like they went between Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, and I think I was one of the only ones in my group to stay in Canberra. And I kind of didn't even really know what I wanted to do. I thought maybe I wanted to do something in the music industry or in the creative industry. And then I guess it just happened upon that I started just making T-shirts. And then I thought it would be cool to actually have a shop front that sells T-shirts, and then I guess products made by other locals. And then it just kind of evolved from there based on like customers coming in and making suggestions and people interacting with the store and being like, why don't you try this? Or why don't you do this? Why don't you put on a party? Why don't you organize a paint jam on a wall? And like it just kind of evolved from there. But it's definitely like, if my store was just like the platform, it was definitely the people that came through to really like breathe life into it. And people who chose to stay in Canberra and help the vibe grow a bit more. So
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's just me. I'd say it's like my customers, my friends, my family, like anyone who's kind of come through and interacted and been part of the fabric of the store. Yeah.
I think you've been one of the most like consistent and like oldest local businesses though, like for that kind of like for local art and streetwear and stuff like that, you know.
I'm still pretty baby though. Like there's Landspeed, like if like
That's
they've
true.
been there for so long
That's
and have
true.
done so much for
Yeah.
like music and I guess
Yeah, because they sell local records and stuff as well.
yeah. And I think didn't the owner used to be a music manager, or didn't he used to manage?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either.
And so what was the turning point for you to getting actually a store? Because that's a pretty big step for a lot of businesses, I would assume.
Yeah, I was what did I do? I think I had a job in the public service. So I used to work at the Royal Australian Mint in product development. And I really loved that job because it was like the role pretty much entailed, I guess, working with the coin and the graphic designers to work on a suite of products. And I really enjoyed like being a project manager and working on a project from like inception to completion. And I got an insight into what it would be like to make things and then put it out to market. And I guess I'm not super passionate about coins, but I just like the idea of making things. And so leaving that job, I'd pretty much I'd always wanted to learn how to screen print, and I started working as a screen printer's assistant and kind of learning the trade. And just to make extra income, I would help do designs for like friends in bands or like businesses, print the T-shirts, sell them online, sell them at markets. So I used to do like the university markets at ANU. I think it was every Thursday is market day or something. So I just like roll on in and set up a stall and just like sell my stuff. And I kind of used that as a testing ground for like what would sell and what wouldn't. And then I thought it would be cool to have a shop front, but like bitch was broke. Like I had no capital. Like I just had no savings, no assets. And then a friend, I can't remember who, but whoever did like linked me to this competition that was happening at the Lonsdale Street Traders, where there was like an empty space. And the whole competition was pretty much like upload your business idea. The one with the most likes gets a 2-week rent-free pop-up. And so I pretty much like uploaded my idea, spammed all my mates and was like, please do this for me. Like, you know, help a sister out. And then I won and it was really cool. And I got to do that 2 weeks rent-free. And then it just happened like, that's the space. So my store was like just around the corner there. So I think the pop-up was originally here and it was just like pretty much over that 2 weeks, I just got like a bunch of credit cards and just bought heaps of shit and made heaps of shit and pretty much like sold a whole bunch of my like secondhand records, sold like a whole bunch of my like vinyl art toy collection and then pretty much just generated like a bit of a nest egg. And in that time, this space became empty. And so I used all the money I made here to like open up in that space permanently. And at the time, I was sharing it with a longboard skate shop. So like the lease was like under both our names. So we would share the cost. Yeah. Yeah. Little store with my secondhand records and yeah, Shredder's board store. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then it just kind of evolved from there. We ended up going our separate ways because we were just vibing off a different wave. But yeah, I have very good memories of, I guess, those early days. Yeah. It wasn't as much responsibility back then. And because like the lease was like temporary, it was like real flexible. You weren't locked in like super hardcore. Yeah.
So what year was that?
Would have been like 8 years ago. So I think it was 2012 or whatever
gosh.
date was on that.
I was 13.
Damn.
I know. Oh my God. Little baby.
That photo was 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you get the chop shop and the Sancho's Dirty Laundry on Lonsdale Street?
So after that, after we kind of decided to go our separate ways, the space around the corner became available. Yeah. So I just moved around the corner in the Traders and that was a bit awkward at the start because it was just like, see ya. Hello again, like right next door. And I think that space I only had for 6 months. And it was, how did Chop Shop happen? Oh yeah, the same building owner was pretty much like the mechanics are moving out next door. The space is only going to be there for like another 4 months, so we can't really do anything with it. We might use it as staff parking, but like, do you want to do something with it? And I was just like, hell fucking yeah. Like it was like grimy AF. It was covered in oil. It stank but for me, I just saw like ideas. I just saw like, we can like have a skate ramp in this corner. We can have like a live music stage here. We can paint the walls because like the building's already so grimy. We can just like paint wherever we want. We can do whatever we want. Like when you're young, it's like, who doesn't want a warehouse to just cut sick in?
Right.
Like, yeah, it was wild. And then
so was that only up for 4 months?
Yeah, so I think
oh my God.
we
I thought
had
it was longer than that.
Yeah, dude, it went so quick. So we had
Wow.
the lease, the pop-up lease for 6 months, but it took we got that stop work notice which ate into our time frame. So then it cut it down to only 4 months. And it was just like stressful as. But yeah, we pretty much just like kickstarted to raise the funds.
Oh my gosh. Your friend.
Yeah. It doesn't exist. Everyone looks so young there.
Oh my God.
Everyone's such babies. James is now like
In America. It's in America.
Holcroft. Yeah,
Yeah.
Holcroft is in America, but oh no, not James, Josh. That was Josh. Yeah, Josh is now like a tattooist at Freestyle. And I remember like back then he was always talking about like, oh, I want to be a tattooist. So it was just like really good to see that evolution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just these people that come in and out of all these projects and then go on to do like amazing things. Yeah. Yeah, very wholesome.
Nice to see everyone.
And do you think that helped with like where you went after that? Kind of that experience of.
Yeah, I think.
Because you had a lot of troubles with, well, not troubles, but you know.
Yeah, there was
I
so many.
remember you had like you know, there's some government thing that they like wanted to ban it or something.
Yeah, it was really weird. So like we were just kind of like going ahead and doing this project, and we were trying to get the space rezoned so we could have like a licensed venue. And then somewhere along the way, because we were like DIYing some of the fit out ourselves, but there were like non-structural elements. Somewhere along the way, someone complained about something. And to this day, I still don't know who that person was. It was an anonymous tip off to the government. And then we like rolled into work to like keep doing our thing one day, and there was this big stop work notice on the doors of the driveway. And I was just like, what is this? Like, I just thought, because it was just a laminated piece of paper, I thought someone was just doing a prank, and I like pulled it off. And then I like looked it up because it had like a code on there, and it was like legit, like from the complaint they'd sent an inspector and something was deemed unsafe, or like a process wasn't being followed. It's a bit hazy for me now to remember exactly what it was, but
It's a temporary space anyway.
yeah, but it's just Canberra building zoning, Canberra building laws and safety laws are like particularly strict. And I mean, they're there for a reason, to like protect and make sure everything's done legit. And then from that point on,
Geocon,
what about Geocon?
dodgy. Kingston foreshore,
Yeah, there's so many dodgy.
dodgy.
If you know how to
all
navigate.
those buildings are sinking now.
Yeah,
that's the least
yeah.
of their
Exactly.
worries,
Yeah, well,
like-
if you have a legal team that can navigate these holes, like we were just a bunch of ragtag, like
That's true. That's
20-something-year-olds that were like, we just want a warehouse to skate and paint in. Like, yeah, I think at that point we did some radio interviews because we'd had this like successful Kickstarter campaign, which we'd reached our target, and then the angle we were saying like it sucks because it was like obviously the people want this to happen, and now we've hit this like, you know, dead end. Like, what do we do? And then that was when one of the ministers came on board, and I guess saw it as an opportunity to advocate for like community projects, and he helped us navigate the various like building codes that we had to adhere to. And in the end, we managed to get open like 2 months later than what we intended. And so we had to like chop and change like all our pre-scheduled events that we had. And we did lose like a lot of money. Like at that point, I wasn't really making an income, and neither was my business partner. And I think I ended up having to use some of our like house deposit that we were saving for. And then that kind of just went off into the void. And that was, in hindsight, probably a bad decision. Like, lost a lot of money. And then we came out of it owing a lot of money, and it was like super, super, super stressful.
For a temporary space. It was
Yeah,
never
for a
meant
temporary
to be
space. We'd
that
kind of like
difficult, yeah.
gone so far in that it was like we saw it as like the point of no return. We were like, it's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't care how, but it's going to happen. And I'm really glad I had that experience because I did learn a lot about planning in Canberra. And I've been able to kind of like pass on certain lessons and bits of information to other people looking at going down that avenue to create like a pop-up space or like a small licensed venue. And I definitely think it helped.
Did you end up helping out like Tegan with Degenerate in 6?
Yeah, I helped a little bit with the Hamlet party.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just more like helped advise and connect with some of the artists that I'd kind of like helped nurture in those other 2 projects, I guess. Yeah. And then she organised that with her people. Like, she did most of the work on that and was pretty amazing at it. Yeah, I only played a small part. Yeah.
Art link up.
Yeah, that's Canberra. Like, people
Yeah.
kind of like, it ebbs and it flows and people cross paths, and you know, it's like this interchanging of skills and connections, and then some people move in the same direction together, or others kind of split off and go do their own thing. So, oh yeah, and then Lowbrow came afterwards. Yeah. Oh, that
I
was
watched
like,
this video preparing for this, and I was like, damn, there was a lot of like artists that were in this project, part of this venue now, that
yeah.
are still kicking around doing like awesome things.
They were doing awesome things though before Lowbrow as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was just a blip in their timeline. Like, these guys were always,
There's Kofi.
yeah. So I guess Lowbrow happened after Chop Shop. So I think I was like shopless for a year and a bit, and I was just trying to figure out, like I was trying to decompress, realign, and figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and I was almost about to go back into the public service. Like I was about to concede defeat and just be like, oh, do the most Canberran thing and go back into public service. And then I remembered there was this empty space above Beach Burrito. And a few years beforehand, I'd met Jimmy, who was the regional marketing manager. Do you remember Jimmy?
No.
He's the artist Con. King of Nothing. Shout out King of Nothing. He's just like the coolest dude. And he had been involved in some of the projects or some events that I'd done back at the Lonsdale Street Traders. I think he'd helped sponsor some alcohol for some of the pop-up events. And I pretty much just remember asking him, being like, yo, is anyone going to do anything with that space? Because, like, I need a new shop home and, like, maybe we can – oh, him, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, maybe we can work out some kind of arrangement where it's, like, part my shop, part performance space, part like dive bar that Beach Burrito essentially runs and supplies, and it's like a branch of their business. So they, I guess, get the kickback from the bar sales. And, yeah, he helped facilitate that. And, yeah, I owe Jimmy a lot because, like, I would be back in the public service if he hadn't thrown me a lifeline. Yeah.
Oh.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. Lowbrow was great. There was some great acts there.
Yeah, it was very lo-fi. I think it was even more lo-fi than Chop Shop because our sound system kept blowing, our smoke machines kept dying. There's like this really bad cockroach problem in those buildings. I think the plumbing kept like conking out. Yeah, it was very, very lo-fi.
Did you have like problems with sound restrictions and stuff in that area in Greenwood Place?
Not so much sound restrictions. Just more we could. So for a venue of our size, we only had a capacity of 100 people. So it's really hard to make that sustainable. You've got to I guess you've got to split it between like ticket sales and alcohol sales over the bar. And then once you've like paid all your overheads, like you've paid the sound guy, you've paid your staff, you've paid the musicians, you've paid the artists. It's not much left to keep putting back into the business.
Yeah. So
for me, Lowbrow was just always a grind. Like, and I was doing pretty much night shifts, working on the door for free, because I was like, well, I don't have any money to put towards this, but I have time. So instead of me taking out of like allocating myself a wage, like I'll just work for free and keep it going for as long as possible. And then it kind of reached this natural conclusion where like the bar manager at the time was moving to Sydney. I had a couple of family members who were unwell, and I found it really hard to split my time between like family duties and keeping this bar alive. And it just kind of, came to its natural conclusion and fizzled out, which I think it fizzled out at the right time, because I think if it had kept going, I probably would have just experienced burnout anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was sad to see it. I was sad to see it end, but also I think it was the break that I needed, because I was working really long hours. Like I was working day shift in the shop, then I'd quickly go get something to eat, and then like start prepping the bar at 7, 8 o'clock for a gig, and then not getting home till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then just doing that again, like over and over. So it was a pretty unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's full on.
Yeah, but also I'm glad I had that experience. Yeah.
And now you're still kind of doing gallery shows, and I know, Faith, you've had one at the new venue.
Yeah,
How was that?
Oh, it was so good. Me and Sancho did like a t-shirt collaboration. I got this idea to combine like abstract painting with like really geometric, clean like screen printing.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it was something I was experimenting with my normal painting, and I was like, oh, I could just like do this on the t-shirts. That would translate very easily. So they ended up being really successful and like super unique.
Yeah, they sold out in like an hour. I think that's like the best performing exhibition I've had in the storefront. And I think you nearly sold every piece too, didn't you?
I sold quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like chase people down now to like
deliver the artwork.
Yeah. I'm like, did you buy
Hey up,
something?
guys.
Yeah, if you're out there, please. I have them in my car. Yeah, that ended up being really, really cool because this was like my first solo show as well, which is quite surprising considering like how long I've been
really?
practicing in Canberra. But it's the first time all of my art has been in like one space like that. It was so good to see it all up there and like to be able to paint the wall and the plinths and have it all. I was like, oh, so I do have a style. Okay, I see it now that it's all here in one space. I totally get it.
It just looks so good. And I really enjoyed like, so with screen printing, it's quite like regimented in the process and like letting go of a bit of creative control and letting Faith do these abstract textures that I then screen printed over was just a good skill share, skill swap. And yeah, just, it was very, what's the word? Cathartic.
Yeah.
Like,
There's less pressure. You could play a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
I think I, in the past, have really held myself to like a realistic perfectionism in my work. And only recently, in like the past year or so, have I really just started playing with abstract stuff.
Like that's a smudge. And like when it first happened, I was like, ah, delete, it's cancelled. Everything's cancelled. But then I kind of just learnt to just go with the process and let the paint drop however it does and smudge however it does.
You don't even notice, and it's like a part of the final product. Like in the final piece, the final T-shirts, they were like paint in places they definitely shouldn't have been paint. But it added to it.
It's like each one's a little bit unique and
you could tell each one was handmade and like individual, which was really cool. So we had so much fun with it. We ended up doing like a run of tote bags as well, which are, I don't know, are they in the store?
Yeah, they're in the store, and hoodies are on the way.
Hoodies are on the way as well.
I just had the workload of death like the last 2 weeks.
We missed winter, but you know we'll go into
back.
summer with hoodies. With the weather we've had recently, I think that would be fine.
Still
anyway.
hoodie appropriate.
Yeah. It's been so.
That was all part of my plan. I knew it was. I was just timing it, right?
The hoodies look really cool. We're super keen. But Sancho and Andy got to come and like paint those as well and like play and like have fun with it. And we shot a video as well with Burrows Digital.
It's coming. It's on its way.
Yeah, on its way.
I like spoke to him on Instagram.
I did too.
Yeah. Shout out to Burrows.
Yeah. We're
I've
very
been
keen
trying
for
to get him to come in and have a chat here actually. Yeah.
I think he's like super busy. Yeah.
I know. He's just pumping out stuff all the time.
Yeah. Good stuff though. We're very keen. I'm excited to see like, because the piece I did for that video only took like an hour and a half, and I just really smashed it. It was super energetic and like lively, and he was just like, oh my god, I can barely like catch you painting, because I'm just like constantly like going to the wall and away. So that it should be like a pretty like vivacious dynamic video. Yeah,
a lot of movement.
Yes,
I imagine.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of questions in the chat.
Cool.
Who's the fave Canberra street artist?
Oh.
Not yourself, obviously, but
Damn. Well, it's hard to pick a favorite. There's a lot of artists like I admire for different reasons.
Yeah.
I really admire graffiti writers because I just have no sense of like lettering and like typography. So it just like that amazes me because I can't do it. So I'll just like watch writers. Like for the PCYC wall, I ended up going a few days when I wasn't even painting and just like watching other people paint because I just loved
that was the best
process.
part of it. Like it's kind of like getting to like peek behind the curtains and seeing everyone's different technique and style. And I don't think I could pick one favorite. I think I just admire so many people for different reasons for like sticking, like some of those graph dudes have been painting for like 20 plus years. Yeah. And I've seen like some of their early pieces and you like get to see the evolution of style and skill. And it's just even getting to watch some of them paint live and seeing like their technique and their nozzles and like how they can flare out or get
it was
like
amazing. Right?
yeah.
Like Fouad did this one piece on that wall, and he went straight onto the raw brick with like no sketch, no background or anything, and really like misted out the can.
Yeah.
And it was like semi-transparent, and that just looked amazing because it was like such a flex on his skill because there was no like you can't backspace on raw brick.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't undo that. So that was really cool. There was a few like
you just really need to go down and have a look in real life and like look closely, like because you can just see like how they've used just the can's natural texture and style and technique, and it's just mind blowing. Like there's a lot of can control, like, and you get to see like the blueprint of the artist on the wall, like
there's some crazy pieces there.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I
think we've had a very consistent
You guys got a busy end of the year. I know you got to get back to the
Talk
shop.
each other's ears off.
Yeah, we do anyway. Like whenever we see each other,
we'll be like standing in the shop, and like 3 hours have passed, and we're still like just talking. So that's why I wanted to get Sancho in, because I knew we'd just be able to talk the whole time.
That was really cool. That was really cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Tink.